As you will be aware, it was a level 3 warning issued by the Met Service for London and the South East. We decided we'd find out how hot London's transport system is. So we sent out one of our researchers with thermometers to ride the buses, the tubes and the trains. LBC's Rupert Bhatia reports.
London's transport systems reached temperatures of well over 30 degrees Celsius yesterday on what was the hottest day of the year so far. At 3 p.m, LBC 97.3 took the number 55 bus from Oxford Street towards Holborn, where we recorded a temperature of 33.8 degrees on board. To the tube, where on the Northern Line between Tottenham Court Road and Charing Cross, temperatures soared to 35.2 degrees. And on the overland train from Charing Cross to Waterloo East, we recorded 32.6 degrees Celsius on the thermometer. It's worth mentioning that EU law states the recommended maximum temperature is 30 degrees Celsius for the carriage of animals.
So, Deputy Prime Minister, you can ship cattle at up to 30, but if you were on the 55 bus, you got 33.8. If you were on the Tottenham Court Road tube, 35.2. And if you're on the train at Charing Cross, 32.6.
35.2 on the tube. That is unbelievably high. Yeah, look, do you know,
it's just a question for Mayor Johnson, of course. You could argue.
Well, of course. Many things are a question for Mayor Johnson. Look, I think the problem we face as a country, is that we don't kind of... These things are unpredictable. So we have a whole system. We have the whole way we work, our offices, buses, everything isn't actually designed for these sudden spikes in temperature. And I mean, the countries that are used to sudden hot temperatures, they kind of organise themselves differently, or indeed very, very cold winters. I remember spending a summer at a school in southern Germany, as a teenager, and they had this rule. It was brilliant as a school kid. They had this rule that if the temperature, I need to check, if it went above 27.5 degrees, suddenly, literally, the moment the thermometer, there was this great big thermometer out in the playground, well, it was a secondary school, so, the moment it went above 27.5, the school ended. You just could go home.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like, that was it. I remember it in Germany. It's called Hitzefrei. There you go.
Yeah. You were studying there, were you?
I did an exchange,
right?
Because I was a German. I studied German at A level. But anyway, so what I'm saying is that this was in Bavaria. They're used to very hot summers, and so their school system, their transport system, the air conditioning, their offices are ready for.
We don't have that in London.
We're not ready for this. Now, then the question is, what should you do about it? I mean, I have to say, I think 35 degrees.
That's brutal.
That is pretty brutal, and you do need to be careful, particularly if you've got, if you're frail, you're recovering from illnesses, if you're elderly, the very young. You do need to be. I notice my very small kids, they just don't drink. They don't drink water. They'll run around in the sun, just not quite realising that they're actually overheating. So you do need to watch out.
I've got a related question. Mark in Gravesend emails, would you let your staff wear shorts in the office? It's so hot in my workplace at the moment. My boss won't let me, which I think is quite ridiculous.
Well, I don't want to intrude on the office of politics there. I mean,
what about if your colleagues
I was padding around. I was
shorts?
padding around in my office without my shoes on yesterday. But obviously, public events where I have to respect the dignity of the office, I put my shoes back on. But I think.
What about your colleagues if they came to work in nice tailored shorts?
I think if I am perfectly relaxed actually about people who work in my office, as long as they're sort of not doing public facing jobs where they have to obviously keep up appearances. But if they're in their offices working hard, as they do, I'm very keen that they shouldn't overheat. I think it's...
And the Labour MPs who said workers should be able to go home when it gets too hot yesterday, I don't know if you saw that.
I don't think, for the reasons I explained, I don't think we should suddenly be passing laws and issuing great rules for everybody. I just think you've got to be pragmatic. If you're in an office which you don't have air conditioning, I don't know, the sun's coming in, particularly these offices under roofs which can overheat, I just think you've got to be sensible. If that really is, I mean, if you cannot, I don't think, reasonably expect someone to actually sit in an office if it's 35 degrees.
No.
You can't
Maybe
get much work done.
Maybe Mayor Johnson should short out the tube rather than wandering around.
Well, I refer you to Mayor Johnson, as I do on so many issues.